And behold the map choice of surely Pachurico in this second match here. We are on the ditch, ladies and gentlemen, and it is Zock against Pachurico, still Cyber on Cyber, game 2. So, Pachurico on the ditch, nigh on impossible. We saw Blackheart kill him very narrowly in this on this map in the Universal Resurrection Cup, and we'll see what happens here. So he's got his first factory. He's going to be reclaiming all these shitty rocks. You can see just how much reclaim there is. And Zock, I'm sure, is doing something similar. The exact same thing, just spamming up power. After that, we'll see how these players go about this, because Pacharico, this is basically his ace map. So Zock is going to have to do something crazy to win here, otherwise he'll be 2 down, which is never good in a best of 5. Just look at all the power that's planned from Pachurico. Some air and land in the mix there, but just mainly power. And we're going to start seeing the mass flow in. We'll stay like this so that we can watch just how much mass he's going to get from these little rocks. Just look at that. Already 175 from the first group. Second group already up to 350. So it's just going to continue like that. The mass here that you can reclaim is simply absurd. So if you don't do that, then you're basically done already. So that's a secret you need to know about this map. And of course, both players know that. Not a very well kept secret, obviously. And we've got Zock just doing the same thing as Pachurico. Same ratio of air factories and land factories. Pachurico with plenty more build power in his ACU. He's got his air factory up, first bomber. It can actually be very helpful to deny expansion on this map, as getting the reclaim in the expansion is also very important. So if you can deny that for a minute or more, it's already thousands more mass that you can have reclaimed. So very, very nice to deny expansion of your opponent here. And Pachurico will be looking to do just that in game 2. He's got this max up, so he's building maxes when he can, but mostly he's just focused on the reclaim. Same thing for Zock here. You can see working on a factory and reclaiming whenever his mass runs low. So they do want long-term reclaiming options eventually. Just one max up for Zock after 3 minutes. You'll never see that on another map except maybe DeRosa's. But this map has even more absurd reclaim than DeRosa's, so you'll see more ridiculous things on this map. More build power on Zock's ACU now. Just as we saw for Pachurico, 2 bombers out now for our Ukrainian buddy. And he's sending them to opposite expansions here, so it'll be difficult for Zock to get his expansions up and running, because it is going to be bombers on both sides from Pachurico. See the power soaring for both players immediately. This is so early. And you see the gigantic lines of power. I think we might have already caught up to this, because I did start watching this sooner. This is live again. So again, don't know what's going to happen. It's nice to be able to cast this way, because it's not like I have to fake my suspense. And we see the 2 bombers now pass each other. So Zock will be well aware of the threat now. He's actually working on a second bomber himself, so he won't have any capability to even kill that, even though he knows it's there. Massive air spam now planned from Pachurico. I think we've really caught up, because I see some significant lag, so we'll give it some chance or some time to catch up. Jesus Christ, I cannot talk. This is bad. We've got the same air spam coming up for Zock. Looks like there was a little interruption in his drag and build there. Here comes the bomber from Pachurico. These engineers are not exactly critical ones, but it's still annoying to lose them at the very least. Interceptor coming in to kill the bomber now. So that's a goner. But this bomber's still alive. Won't be able to deny the reclaim here too effectively, as there is a factory up. So not the best bombers from Pachurico. You see mass storage already going up, even though there's only Tech 1 maxes, because these players want the capability to store the mass, but for some reason he was stalling ridiculously hard there. He needs to maintain the reclaim. That's what happens when you have a map with this much reclaim. If you stall for even a second, it's going to be a terrible stall because you're depending so much on the reclaim. It's only got those 4 mexes at minute 5. It's just all about the reclaim at this point. It's got to utilize that as best as he can. Pachurico taking more care to take the expansions. You see a transport up here. We'll grab this expansion, so he is also securing the mexes. That will be an advantage in the long run for Pach. Just still working on his power here. Zock has more than 1,200 power at this point. So far ahead of Pachurico in that regard, but he's going to start using his air if he wants that to be an advantage. We've got a transport now coming out of this air factory. Why is this lagging? I gave it enough time, ample time in fact, to catch up with the replay. So that's kind of weird. This bomber actually did deny an engineer, but more engineers coming in, so not 100% effective. 3 transports on the field for Pachurico, really making his units mobile here. Zock on an attack move. Let's see if he can kill these engineers. And an interceptor patrolling from Pachurico. It will spot the bomber. It has spotted it now. And those engineers are safe. And transport heading out to the top left corner for Pachurico, and 2 transports securing this expansion down here. Really mobile units here from Pachurico, and both players now going heavy for Navy. You can see all of these naval factories queued up. It might even be the same number. It's creepily similar. And it's doing it again. This is the problem with casting live replays. Should never have made it +1, but what can you do? I wanted to do that. And so, still just shooting down bombers is Pachurico. Both players with about the same power. But soon you're going to see Pachurico take an advantage because he has his expansion, his natural expansion. Zock does not have his. And Pachurico's taking the corners of the map. Actually, Zock doesn't even have this expansion, so he's really far behind in terms of getting map control. One thing you also can't discount is the plateau. Plenty of reclaim here as well. Let's check the numbers. Pachurico already at 16,000 essentially. Zock at 15,000. So Pachurico really ahead in most ways on this map so far. Mass storage still going up for Zock. And Tech 2 Air as well is in the future. Tech 2 Land already up. Tech 2 Land and Tech 2 Air for Pachurico as well. This is starting to piss me off the way this is lagging. Pachurico just gonna secure the corners with some factories. He likes to get Tech 2 factories in those corners. Puts lots of pressure on his opponent's expansions. They are good staging points for attacks. And he's also heading for the middle island, which, surprise, surprise, has tons of mass to reclaim. That might seem like a common theme, because it is. There is an absurd amount of mass on this map. I don't remember. Somebody did find out exactly how much it is. I think it was upwards of 60,000 on each side. And there's probably way more than that. In any case, we know it's essentially unlimited for the first stages of the game, but you do have to make your mexes, of course, get them to Tech 3 so that you can compete later. Can't rely 100% on reclaim. These bombers are really kind of obsolete at this point. Nothing they're going to be able to do against this kind of power here. So many factories up for Pachurico. There's lots of potential Tech 2 factories here. He's got the first one up. Wagner is being produced. You can see just how much power is being produced. He's working on 2 separate lines of Tech 2 P-Gens. That's how much power he's going to need if he wants to use all the mass available. See now, even Pacharico, who's good at this sort of thing, is struggling to spend all his resources. Zock, still stalling on mass pretty hard. He's got to start reclaiming here. He's got the capability to reclaim, and this is not ideal. He really is struggling to take his expansions. Not getting his mexes up quickly enough. Pachurico securing this gigantic section of reclaim with a factory as well. Not slowing down with his expansion. It's just, you can see how many more sections of the map Pachurico is controlling in terms of reclaimables. Both players now have their ledges up. Actually, this is clever. I didn't know you could do that. I'll have to remember this. You can actually bring engineers to this spot here and build a factory on the ledge. That's very helpful, actually. I guess for Pachurico, the equivalent spot would be somewhere around here. I guess right there. So that is very nice. But Pachurico just used the transport to drop there. Assumably you will have transports anyway, so why not? And he's got lots of these Tech 2 factories up, just as I said he probably would do. Right after I was commenting on some unrelated crap, he's building these factories, and also on this side, so he's getting them in the corners. We'll see how many factories he decides to get at the Tech 2 level. Just still Tech 1 Navy from Zock, Tech 1 Navy from Pachurico, going to Tech 2 Navy though. He's got these factories here to produce engineers, and he's controlling the middle, so we are going to see a huge advantage to Pachurico in the next few minutes unless something changes here. But it's hard to see something changing. Zock is still far behind in economy. Pachurico 56,000 reclaim, Zock at 44,000, so Pachurico is just pulling away from Zock. Zock is making RAS upgrade. Pachurico started that a while ago, not really progressing too far, still working on his Tech 2 power. It's a very nice power balance from Pachurico though. Once he gets these 2 extra pigeons, he can really go hard for his RAS. After RAS comes Tech 3 Air. After Tech 3 Air comes more map control, and he's already got basically all the parts of the map that he can control. He's got his ledge, he's got the corners, and the middle. Obviously it would be hard to control these areas, but it is not easy at this point for Zock to come back into this. He's got to grab map control and make some kind of decisive move in terms of securing a large amount of reclaim. And Pachurico just working on ecoing, just upgrading many mexes at a time, building mass storage, no problem at all. Speaking of ecoing, I want to see how many engineers he already has. He already has 208 engineers at minute 11. He has so many factories producing them. Zock doesn't have as many engineers, so it's just Pachurico's pulling ahead in every possible category. It's got all his Tech 2 pigeons up that he wants now. Lots of extra power. He can unpause his RAS now. Wants to get that up and use his advantage as quickly as possible. And the Wagner's now splitting up, heading across the map in all sorts of different directions. Now a very peaceful cooperation. Zock erecting factories while Pachurico is erecting Tech 1 PDs. It's kind of impossible for Zock to make any kind of push here. Too well embedded is Pachurico, and on the contrary, it's going to be an attack from Pachurico on Zock's position here. This would be difficult to deal with as well. Tech 2 factories here as well, but not nearly the production that Pachurico has on his side. Tech 3 mexes for Pachurico almost up. Minute 11 here. And an air fight. I don't actually know who's going to win this. Looks like Pachurico had more, but Zock got behind him. The problem, of course, being that Pachurico can easily come back and outspam Zock. You can see all the air power, or all the build power is being transferred over to the air factory. I guess he's anticipating Tech 3 Air as soon as his RAS completes. That would be a logical step. Whereas Zock's RAS, his is a little bit farther along, and he's going Tech 3 Air himself. So Zock wants to get Tech 3 Air before Pachurico does and hopefully win the game that way, because at the moment he's just sinking slowly farther and farther towards a loss here. See the gunships and Wagners just splitting up on different sides of the map. It's just production on all fronts from Pachurico. Nothing that Zock is able to do to stop the tide. Reclaim numbers well over 115,000 for Pachurico. Still only 80,000 for Zock. And that's what I predicted would happen once I saw Pachurico just getting so many expansions up. All the reclaim all over the map started to belong to him, and this is just where he starts to pull away in terms of economy and unit production. Zock with his RAS done, almost to Tech 3 Air. So he temporarily has way more power, but once Pachurico finishes his RAS, he should be in good shape. He's got it now. So now Pachurico will take a small lead in power again, and he's going to go Tech 3 Air himself while making a Tech 3 Max as well. So you have to think it's going to have to be a snipe from Zock. See, from his perspective, he knows that he's losing a lot of the map, so he's going to have to go for a snipe. Problem is, it'll be very difficult to snipe Pachurico at this point. Interceptors coming in to kill off any beginnings of an air force that Zock might be producing. All these Tech 2 air factories producing Corsairs. And Zock just not building anything with his Tech 3 air factory, allowing Pachurico to catch up very nicely. Pachurico with way more economy should be able to make more Tech 3 air. See, these ASFs are coming out and being overwhelmed by Tech 1 air, so Pachurico is stalling for time here while he gets a superior air force of his own. This is just very, very difficult for Zock. He has a mountain to climb here. The question is, what does Pachurico want to do next? Does he want to try and win air? Does he want to make a hard push for Navy? So he's already winning Navy. He's got Tech 2 Navy, whereas Zock doesn't have any of that, so he could win Navy and then proceed with air. He could try and win the expansions. He's already somewhat doing that with his Wagners being taken out by Tech 1 PDs, but he is constantly putting pressure on Zock. See a large production here. I expect in this corner as well. Yep, Tech 2 factories here as well. Some HQs actually, that's kind of weird. And Zock at this point is actually just holding on to his expansions. He's not concerned at all with winning the game. It's just survival mode at this point. See, power very even still, but just look at that mass count soar for Pachurico. That's due to all the reclaim he managed to secure, and now some real progress for him taking out Zock's expansion here with these Tech 2 factories. So that's going to leave a huge gap for Pachurico to exploit. How many gunships does he actually have? He's got 32 gunships all over the map, so very difficult once again for Zock to deal with all of those. They're so spread out. And does he have? He only has the single ASF, but he's still able to use his gunships. Lots of ASFs actually up for Zock. So it looks like he has air control. It's going to have to be strap bombers now if he wants to have a chance of winning the game, but Pachurico keeping him well scouted. So you'd think his ACU would be able to construct some shields if the need arose. Really, really difficult situation. Tech 2 mexes on the middle island. So very few problems for Pachurico in this game so far. The gunships are right in the middle of Zock's base, taking out power. They should probably be focusing on the engineers. That would be a bigger loss. Tech 1 power really isn't that critical at this point. The engineers certainly would be a big loss if Pachurico were to take those out. Now what is Pachurico actually going to build? He's going to have to build something game-winning at some point. He's got a lot of Tech 3 air on the field now, lots of factories. He's going to get Tech 3 power as well. So we'll start to take a huge lead in power and in air production. We're just holding off Zock's Navy here, and Zock has nothing backing this up, so this push is doomed against a destroyer and a cruiser. Once Pachurico holds this off, he can start pushing back, especially with gunship support. It looks like Navy will also belong to Pachurico, so just another front going his way. And it's difficult to see what Zock can really do at this point. He can go for Tech 3 air, or Tech 3 bombers. He already has Tech 3 air, but he's lost a lot of his build power in that last attack. So with Navy lost, with land lost, with air soon to be lost, it's just really bad. Not much more to say. It's hard to say original things in a cast like this where the game is just sort of drifting towards an inevitable conclusion unless somebody can change it. Zock actually working on Tech 3 mexes. He's already way behind. Might as well go all in. It's basically an impossible task for him to catch up in eco now, so it's really not much point in trying that. He should focus on trying to get map control or trying to get some kind of snipe in, because the longer he waits, the more eco Pachurico can get. See more Tech 3 mexes being upgraded, more reclaim coming up. He still hasn't reclaimed everything. He's over 200,000 reclaim. Zock 70,000 behind. It's really been the story of this game. Pachurico still has not run out of reclaim. That's the absurd part. Hasn't even come close to running out. So I was definitely wrong about the 60,000 thing. That might even be per expansion. in which case there would be 120,000 on each side because the middle one doesn't really have that much, so maybe 150,000 on each side. But even that's wrong. I'm not even going to try. It's a lot of reclaim. If somebody has the number, I would actually like to know that, because then I can be a bit more accurate about that. Just Tech 3 Air from Zock. 530 mass income from Pachurico. So it was even for a little bit there in terms of the Tech 3 Air race, but Pachurico is just pulling ahead. We check the numbers. 25 ASF for Pachurico, 19 for Zock, and that gap will start to increase now. So much build power here in the middle. It's got 2 Tech 2 naval factors, a bunch of Tech 1s, and really little that Zock can do to stop this tide of Tech 2 units. One option that we haven't explored is the Telemazer, but it's extremely expensive, and it would be really last ditch from Zock. He needs way more power before he can try that. And Pachurico, I'm sure by that point he would have scouted, and I'm sure he'll get teleport protection, but that and an air snipe are about Zock's only hopes at this point. So it's possible that he should just put everything into power and try and get the Telemazer up. Speaking of power, Pachurico with a massive advantage there. So really wasting quite a bit of it. It's still nice to have that extra power just in case. Some units from Zock actually sneak in, but they have no chance of doing anything, sadly. This advantage might actually be a false one for Pachurico. This cruiser is nearly dead, so if it's focused, it could be killed, and then Zock could possibly make a pushback here. He's going to run into all this stuff here on the top from Pachurico. Pachurico continuing to raid. And he hasn't stopped raiding this entire game. Just has units constantly moving around. Nearly impossible to kill all of them. Whereas to Zock's credit, he has the same thing going on. But Pachurico has so much more economy than he does. The map is just starting to flood with blue, and he's even able to keep his planes on stealth. You know, that is a power drain. He has enough power to maintain all that. And the more I see this, the more I think we will see a telesnipe attempt by Zock. And Pachurico's having none of that. You can see the point defense is coming up for him. This is teleport protection right here. And his ACU will just sit there quite nicely. He will see any Tech 3 bomber snipe attempt. He will shut those down. And he's got teleport protection. So Zock really has no way to kill Pachurico at this point in the game. And we can almost safely declare this a win for Pachurico. Of course, this game is known to produce ridiculous comebacks and ridiculous wins. It's hard to see that in this situation, especially as Pachurico is so good on this map. It's just been a slow, steady build-up from him. Very few problems. He's actually going to lose one T3 max here. His base has been immaculate. Absolutely nothing going on here, but looks like he will suffer a little bit of damage. That will do absolutely nothing, though, in the overall scheme of things. Nuke defense is actually up from both players. Actually, no, Zock's still working on his, but Pachurico is not making a nuke. Zock is working on an upgrade now. Certainly not anything related to a Telemazer, because that would have crashed his power by now. And just Pachurico actually getting into a transport now. He will move himself to the water. This is a bit of a nuisance from Zock, bringing in some Wagners to try and take out the expansion. Doubtable that that'll do much. Tech 3 gunships out for Pachurico to deal with any sort of attack on his base. Tech 1 PD's up as well. So not much will happen here, but still a nice raid idea from Zock, just a bit too little too late. And Zock is not dead by any means. He still does have a strong economy, but the problem is that Pachurico is just holding on to every part of the map so well here. And still has more reclaim. He's now almost to 250,000 reclaim. So he almost has an entire Paragon's worth of mass reclaimed. So you can think if he had a Paragon instead, it would be the same outcome, because he basically has infinite mass for all intents and purposes for what he's trying to build now. Zock going for an upgrade. This is also not the laser, because that would cost 7,500 power. Certainly not draining that. The lag has stopped, so has mostly stopped, so I just wonder if this game has concluded in real life. We're just waiting for it, but the lag is coming back, so forget what I just said. And interesting that on these big ditch games, the Tech 1 power almost never gets reclaimed, because there's so much reclaim anyway. It just doesn't make sense. Any power that you can squeeze in is worth it, so the Tech 1 pigeons are usually kept alive, and at least until unit cap becomes a problem. Then of course they're going to be one of the first units to be gone. Tech 1 power is not what you want using up your unit cap. And it's just difficult to see where this is going to go. I mean, we know that this is heading inevitably towards a Pachurico win, but just wonder how he's going to finish this off. Lots of power being constructed from Zock, so Telemazer could be an upgrade that we see in the future. See lots and lots of power going up here. It's had 3 different groups of engineers working on power. He may be getting Tech 3 before going for those upgrades so that he can get them quickly. As long as he has a somewhat decent amount of power with his mass income, it should be fine to get those upgrades up with the Tech 3 ACU. But that's really his only chance. Pachurico now working on a Soul Ripper. He's in the water, so he's almost impossible to snipe with a telelaser anyway. He would have to be standing in just the right spot. And Zock now has Tech 3 on his ACU. He can get the telemazer if he wants. He's got about half the power necessary, which means he can go for it. Indeed, it's even possible that the torpedo launcher upgrade plus teleport could be good here, as it does quite a bit of damage, and Pachurico would be forced out of the water, and then of course the question would be, how do you kill him after that? But that might actually be a decent plan. I'm not sure where that would lead us, but Zock now has 24,000 power. If he were to go for the teleport, he would obviously lose 3,000 of that due to losing Ras. But he still has enough power that I think he can go for it, and he must go for it. It's his only option. Pachurico surpassing 700 mass income per tick and 32,000 power. He can build anything he wants. If he was UEF, this would be Maver time. So it's going to have to be something drastic from Zock. See so many Tech 3 maxes up. And this is not the best choice from Zock going for a Soul Ripper. Pachurico just going into deeper water. Now he's essentially unkillable. Nothing is going to stop him now. A Soul Ripper coming in. And we can really safely declare this as a win now for Pachurico. It has been like that for a while, but I was just hoping that maybe Zock could pull off some kind of snipe just to keep this interesting, but it looks like this game might just fizzle out into a rather standard economy win on this map. The Soul Ripper will win Navy without a shadow of a doubt for Pachurico. Zock has given him a real fight in that. But with a Soul Ripper hovering overhead, there will be absolutely nothing to stop Pachurico from taking Navy. Once Navy goes, this will all go. And Soul Ripper from Zock really won't do much. Might provoke an air fight, that could be interesting. But it really has been quite a standard win for Pachurico on this map so far. Unless he wins in a fun way or something, I don't know. And harms now up from Pachurico to make his Navy absolutely unassailable. This could also just be a lack of things to spend mass on. When you've got 717 mass income, it becomes hard to find what to do with all that mass. Wagner's now breaching Zock's base. Engineers going down left, right, and center. gunship, the Soul Ripper just coming in. If it is going to be an air fight, Pachurico has way more. See the numbers. 108 or 100. I might have misread that. It's 106. Actually, versus 101. So quite even in ASF numbers. Pachurico does know how to micro his ASF though. We'll see what happens now. It's going to kick off. Just an attack move from Pachurico. He must think he has way more, but the reality is Zock has an equal, if not, well, okay, I don't even know what happened there, but somehow Pachurico's ASF just got in and around. And it's going to be a Soul Ripper fight here. Zock goes to attack Pachurico's Soul Ripper. And that's going to allow Pachurico to kill off all of Zock's ASF. Will the Soul Ripper go down? No, it won't. So there's 2 Soul Rippers in the area. Both are being targeted. One goes down. The critical one, which is Pachurico's, stays alive and gets veterancy as well. 174 kills already. This is not going to be pretty. The ASF numbers were even, but Zock had to target the Soul Ripper. He didn't manage to kill it off. And now, actually, with Zock having more power, it's going to be over. The Soul Ripper puts an end to the shenanigans. After 27 minutes, Pachurico earns a very nice controlled win on the ditch. And that's 2-0 in the series. And he also gets the choice of map 3, if I'm not mistaken. So Zock is going to have to win, otherwise the series is up. So I'll see you guys in the next game.